I'm Nate, and this is Holy Land Travel HQ. Today, let's talk about bringing back sand or soil from Israel. The easy answer is yes, you can bring sand or soil back home from Israel. You can certainly hide it in your bag, but you may need to declare it. Both Israeli and U.S. customs have policies that you should probably be aware of. In Israel, the departure process is lengthy and tedious. The main concern for Israeli customs is terrorism and the exportation of antiquities and commercial goods. For soil and similar items, the main concern for U.S. customs is that bacteria and microorganisms live in soil. Sand is a subsection of soil and have a considerably smaller amount of organisms, if anything at all. So let's talk about Israeli customs. When it comes to departure, Israeli customs has two major themes across all of their websites. The first is that you must declare goods that you're exporting to sell. And the second is don't take antiquities without permission. When you depart through Ben Gurion Airport, you will go through several levels of security. The first level is an interview by a security officer. They will want to know who you came in contact with, and if you visited Palestine, if you made friends with anybody desiring to harm Israel. Then you will go to the ticket counter where you will get your boarding passes and check your bags. After this, you will head to the security zone while your checked bags will get searched by customs personnel. Next, you'll enter the security zone where your carry-on bag will get searched in front of you. Customs personnel are looking for two things. The first are weapons or indications of nefarious activity that you may have been involved in that are hostile to the nation of Israel. The second is illegal contraband such as antiquities defined by the Antiquities Law of 1978. After your carry-on is searched, your hands and your shoes will be swiped for explosive residue. Needless to say, Israeli customs doesn't really care about soil. However, some artifacts are made from soil and rock, and sometimes small pieces of pottery or glass called ostraka may be embedded in a sample of soil. So what does the Israeli Antiquities Authority have to say about all this? In 1948, the Israeli Antiquities Authority was established, and 30 years later, in 1978, the Israeli government passed a law regarding the handling of antiquities. According to the 1978 law, antiquities were defined into three different categories. The first category is artifacts produced before 1700 AD. The second are objects of historical value produced after the year 1700 AD, but declared by the Minister of Education and Culture to be an antiquity. And the third are biological fragments dated before the year 1300 AD. As you visit sites along your tour, you may find ostraka or remnants of ancient artifacts. Most of these pieces come from items like pottery. Finding ostraka on the ground is how archaeologists discover these sites, because this is a sign of a buried civilization. Even though there is likely no value in any of these items, I would highly recommend that you do not take any of them, and here's why. Many ancient artifacts were made from clay, mud, and stone. Even if it's a small shard of pottery, if it looks and feels like it came from an ancient artifact, if Israeli customs finds it in your bag, you will need to explain to them where you got it from and why you have it. In some parts of Israel, like the Dead Sea, you can actually buy small decorative bottles of sand, and these bottles are recognizable to Israeli customs when you exit. So now let's talk about what the U.S. has to say about this. U.S. Customs and Border Protection has a long list of items that they want travelers to declare when they re-enter the United States, and soil is one of them. It falls under the category of agriculture. On their website, U.S. Customs states, pure sand, such as a small container of decorative beach sand, is usually allowed. Always check with the permit unit in advance for details. On the TSA website, they note that it's okay to have sand in both your check bag and your carry-on bag. U.S. Customs and the TSA don't really have much of a beef with the transportation of antiquities, so they probably won't ask or even care if you're bringing something back from Israel. However, if an item is stolen or not properly documented, Israel does have agreements with the U.S. and several other countries to get those items back. So what's my take on this? I say leave Israel for the Israelis and future tourists to enjoy. There are also shops in Jerusalem's Old City as well as many sites throughout the country that sell both real and fake antiquities. And some places like the Dead Sea, you can buy small bottles of sand or soil. For more information on souvenirs, check out my website. I'll leave a link in the description below to a couple articles on my website about buying souvenirs and artifacts. Thanks for watching, and if you like the content in the video, please hit the like button and subscribe to keep me in your feed.